Hello everybody, I am John Conley. I'm the race director of the LIVESTRONG Austin Marathon and Half Marathon and Paramount 5K coming up on February 19th of 2012. This will be our 21st time at the dance. It'll be my 16th time of being the race director for this event, and I think our world changed a little bit last year when LIVESTRONG came on board as the title sponsor of this event. You know, after the previous 2 years of having no sponsor, it made for some interesting times in terms of how the race would be portrayed to the public. And there was nothing quite as powerful as having something like LIVESTRONG come along and partner up with this race. I know one of the slogans that I've seen at the LIVESTRONG headquarters is that unity is strength, and I think the marathon and half marathon are stronger now with partners like LIVESTRONG. Our mission with the Austin Marathon is to change lives through the marathon and to be a force for good in the community. And so we know that people who run the marathon or the half marathon really aren't the same people at the finish line that they were at the start. You know, the things that you go through to prepare for the race, the months and months of sacrifice, the change in the diet, the change in the lifestyle, the family, and all the support that you have to have in order to get to that finish line changes you. And so we know that's just a fundamental part of being a marathoner. The other part of it is being a force for good, is that we know that when you've got 20,000 people all moving toward the same goal, all striving for the same thing, that there's just tremendous energy, tremendous good that comes out of that. And when that spills over into the community and touches our partners like LIVESTRONG and like the Paramount Theater, it just creates this ripple effect, this cascade of good. So we think the marathon is a real powerful thing in the city, the nation, and the world. It's a sport that's been around for 2,500 years, so we think this event's got some staying power, and certainly with partners like LIVESTRONG, we're going to touch a lot more people than just the runners themselves. Our course is a labor of love. This is what we spend 12 months out of the year working on and just trying to stay abreast of. This year the race route is identical. Both race routes are the same as we used in 2011, and the purpose of keeping the same course was to stabilize some of the operations out there. This course is a tour of all that is great about Austin. It is the ultimate pedestrian tour of the city of Austin. It starts up in the Capitol Complex, which is close to most of the parking in downtown Austin, and the hotels that are in the southern part of the Capitol Complex down around Town Lake, Lady Bird Lake. So it's very easy for people to get to, and we think that's a pretty big deal for people to get their game face on, get their head into the event, and focus on what they're doing rather than focusing on driving and finding parking. So we think it's a pretty convenient start and finish, and it's one we've had since 2007, and it seems to work very well for us. So everybody stages up there north of the Capitol, and they do a nice little circular tour of the Capitol Complex before they head outbound downhill past the LIVESTRONG water stop at mile 2 at Republic Square Park, and that's where you start seeing very quickly the energy of LIVESTRONG. You see the collective mass of all of the people that are down there in that City Hall complex out on Cesar Chavez. So high energy, very easy to kind of overextend yourself at that point and push too hard because you get caught up in that energy of just the huge crowds, the double-sided water stop. And then you go outbound across the bridge onto South Congress Avenue, one of the coolest, funkiest neighborhoods in Austin, a real slice of old Austin in a lot of ways. You pass places like the Continental Club and Joe's Coffee and Botticelli's Restaurant, just some places that you probably would want to check out, if you're visiting, places you'd want to check out on your own at other times. And the race sort of inches straight up Congress Avenue and makes a turnaround, and you come back down this long hill. So I like to call this the course that giveth and the course that taketh away. You go uphill and you turn around and you have this long downhill. And so by about between miles 6 and 8, those 2 miles, you just got a steady downhill to kind of get your rhythm when you hit the bridge and you come back into that high energy zone right there at the City Hall. Then you're going outbound, and this is marathoners and half marathoners. Everybody's combined at this point. And you hit the magical LIVESTRONG mile, which is taken over by LIVESTRONG. runs parallel to the Lance Armstrong Bikeway. So you'll see some pretty cool art out there. You'll see a lot of high energy, a lot of music, markings on the road. It's probably the most exciting part of the race, and it's pretty steady downhill as well. The race then goes up Winstead Lane, and at that point the marathon and half marathon separate out. Half marathoners proceed eastbound on 15th Street back up to the Capitol Complex. This is a challenging course, but if you have paced yourself right and you've taken advantage of the downhills, what we know is that this is actually one of the faster race routes in the state. When we've compared this race route to Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas, we have faster average times. We have faster average times in every age group except for Houston, which has a faster men's 20 to 24 time, and Dallas has a faster women's 60 to 64 time. All of the other average times for our course are faster than Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. So if you've prepared for hills and you take advantage of a race route like this that makes you run using different muscle groups, so you're not beating up the same muscles, you're not having a lot of pounding with downhills. When this race hits the highest point up here at about mile 19, the last 10K straight down to the finish drops 450 feet total. So this is where in a marathon you need to be able to have some help from the course. The downhill really helps. You've used a bunch of different muscle groups getting up the hills, and this all rolls here. So this is all a straight downhill, very few turns, and it takes you through the historic Hyde Park neighborhood, which used to be considered the country in Austin back 50 to 100 years ago. It's now this very nice, beautiful old historic neighborhood before you enter the University of Texas campus, and you run right by the stadium on your way to the finish line. Again, you pass through the Capitol Complex and finish up south of the Capitol on historic Congress Avenue. So it's really, I think, the best of both worlds. It's a course that's very well supported. It's a course that's beautiful. It's a course that, if you're trying to get a Boston qualifier, if you run this thing smart and if you train properly, it's well within your reach. And this is a course that is very well supported from a music standpoint. We had 38 bands out there last year. We expect to have roughly the same amount. And we got toilets at every mile, water and Gatorade at every mile, and medical support at every mile. So the city really embraces this race. The community comes out and supports it. We're seeing more and more energy every year. And I think with a group like Livestrong on board and the energy that they bring, it just combines and gives us this enormous energy that I just frankly haven't seen. This is John Conley reporting live from the Livestrong Austin Marathon and Half Marathon headquarters at Conley Sports, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning, February 19th, 2012.